Hello, everybody. Ari Zucker here, and I am really excited to start another season of everything from A to Z. And my topics for the next few episodes is going to be about journaling. Yes, we're jumping to J unless we want to start with Ari's journaling. Then we could start with A again. Like I said, it's anything anywhere from A to Z. And anyway, this season, these next few episodes, like I said, is about journaling and what it means, because I know there's a lot of coaches and mentors and teachers out there that encourage us as students or clients, athletes, etc., to take note of our personal journey and write things down. And a lot of people will say, why? What is the purpose? But it has a ton of purpose. It helps us create the life we imagine. It teaches us how to transform our life into what we want to be as individuals, not what someone else has taught us to be. Although we could take those teachings and sort of make them our own, but to really find our own voice and who it is we want to be and break old habits that we were taught and create habits that work for us on a creative level. Because everything we do is creative. I know a lot of analytical people say, well, I'm not creative, but you have to be creative. You even have to come up with ideas on how to get that next job or who you're going to be when you walk in the room. That's all a creative process. So we all are creative individuals, which is why our slogan at my company that I started Aloha Life Coaching is so important, because you're always creating that life that you imagine, that you want to build, and finding what your unique potential is, right? So if you do journal, I would imagine there are words in there that have inspired you to be a different person, working towards your goals and figuring out how to get there. So I want to share a little bit about when I was younger and when I grew up. I grew up in a home where I was taught to respond to things reactively, right? So when I was little, that nature taught me to retreat, and I really was afraid of my own shadow in the beginning. And that since that had changed, and then I had this whole other process I had to get through. But at that moment, I was so afraid of my own shadow. I had difficulty with confrontation and having a conversation or talking about things that were important to me. I would literally tear up and cry if I was in that position. And I have a story when I was modeling overseas, and I really just wanted to go home. I wasn't ready to be traveling yet at such a young age without family or direction or anything. And trying to tell my modeling agency that I wanted to go back to the States for a while. I mean, I was sweating, I was crying. I couldn't even get the words out. I was tearing up so badly. And you end up doing that sobbing thing that I just had a really hard time. I eventually was able to get back home. I found a way to use my words, but it wasn't easy, right? So I have spent, I should say, a lot of my life working on how I was going to remove that old habit and that life and create a new one with loving responses instead. And, it's interesting. This does relate to that time in my life. It relates to a lot of things, but I had written down a passage in one of my journals. Um, And here's one of my responses to things. This was June 7th, 2017. And it says, my appreciation for my life and my journey have always been important. However, these past few years have changed significantly. As I write these words, I want to figure out my next steps in life peacefully, quietly, and with grace. My only request is that you, capital, stay with me to help me write the words I need to help me move forward on my journey. So I have to tell you, that is talking about my relationship with a higher power, God, the universe, or whomever or whatever you believe in. You may not believe in anything at all, but I know we do have to believe in something, that energy or anything, our friends, to get us sometimes to the next level in our life, right? To me, I wanted to have a better relationship with God. And, like I said, sometimes I call it the universe provides as well. But it was really difficult for me to find that. And this will be a longer conversation in some other podcast. But what that connection for me personally was to help me get through my life and who I wanted to be as a person, as a human, how I wanted to be as a mom, as a friend, as a wife, as a partner, as a business partner, as and building relationships with strangers and people that I don't know. Who was that person that I wanted to be? And how do I continue to want to be that person? Right. So going back and reading where I was and where I am today with how I respond to things in the world is a really big deal because there is a huge difference from being that kid that was afraid of their own shadow or afraid to talk or have a podcast of their own or be an actor or somebody who's always judged, right? One thing I did figure out finally in my life is you will never make everyone happy. For this podcast, for instance, some people listen to it and think I'm a joke, and that's fine. That's okay. But there are people that are going to get really wonderful things out of it. And that's the part that I enjoy the most is if I affect a handful of people, then I'm doing something good, right? So bringing it back full circle as to why writing things down is so important in your life is because it will keep you focused on where you're going. It will help you check off your to-do list, if you will. Because if you have goals and things in your life that you're working towards and you reach them, you check that off and you get to start over again with the next set of goals because there's always goals. There's always beautiful things to look forward to. There's always going to be hurdles in your life. Even when you get to a really amazing place in your life, there's always going to be more things to uncover because the universe, the energy, God, however you see it, will provide the next step of your life for you so that you can reach those next goals. Because the universe wants you to succeed. It's just how you see it succeeding. And we have this little risk management team up in our head going, wee, wee, don't go there. It's unknown. It's unknown. But when we journal and when we help keep ourselves focused, it removes those risk management sirens going off on our head saying, no, I can do this. I have done it. And I can prove that I can continue to do it and continue to succeed in your life. Right. So remember though, too, nothing happens quickly in your life, right? Right. So when we want to grow in life, that takes time. If we want to destroy things in life, well, that could be sometimes just a word or a sentence or making a bad choice and everything we built falls by the snap of our fingers, right? So be patient because that's one of the things that I was talking about in one of my social media comments is having patience for 2024. It is so hard to continue having that patience and building that patience. But every seed that you plant, every time you're patient, every time you take a step back and see the world around you, then we can see our future moving forward, right? Because we're taking those times and not stressing and scaring ourselves into retreating. So take that time to write things down, write those goals down, find things to look forward to wake up in the morning and go, okay, I got this one step closer. So if you can relate and you're looking for something that will help you even more, I'm encouraging you to work through our 18 course journey with Sean Christian. It is really amazing. We base them off the acronym of CREATE, right? So each letter from CREATE has 3 courses and worksheets that you could really dive into and help journal and help create the life you imagine. It's really cool because the courses are only $275 and you have them forever and you can go back. And just like your journals, like when I journaled from 2017, I went back and I looked at my notes and I went, oh my gosh, I remember that. I want to be back in that place again. I want to go back to that sense memory and remember how I got there and what made me change that part and that time of my life. I like that habit and I want to recreate that habit in my current place in life right now. So anyway, all you have to do is go to alohalifecoaching.com and click on our courses, scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on that 275 offer. There is another offer where you get the courses and you get to work with Sean Christian or myself for a different price. It's a little higher price because that's personal work between us. But just for that initial courses offer, it's $275. And we appreciate you just even taking a look at it. There is a lot to read. Will show you what you're getting for the 275. But if you want to bypass that, like I said, just go to alohalifecoaching.com, click on courses, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see that $275 offer. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in to everything from A to Z. I look forward to the next episode or podcast, I should say. Thank you so much. And here's to an amazing 2024.